What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
You don't know what that order is, Mr. Trash. I'd show you, but I'm too old. I'm too tired. I'm too fucking blind. If I were the man I was 5 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
We've said it once. We've said it before. We've said it a million times. The truth shall always set you free. This is Tim. Let's get off my lawn. The mad ramblings of a Gen Xer. We're going to do just the podcast edition today because I was too lazy to turn on the camera. Want to talk about the Joe Biden press conference, his big boy moment. Oh, you know what just gets me about this whole thing is you have both the left and the right kind of attacking him for this press conference. Because you know what it was?
Are you a big man? Huh? I'm talking to you.
What?
You wake up in the morning, you say, I put on my big boy pants. Look, I'm wearing a belt. I got big boy pants on.
He had his big boy pants on. He made his multitudes of mistakes like he always does. I always like he always does. It's just Joe Biden. This is what it's been since 2020. And now that there's a hyper focus after the debate on his mental state and his cognitive abilities, Joe Biden, that is, I find it interesting now that every little mistake is magnified. Guys, especially you in the press, this has been going on since 2020. This isn't new. This isn't different. This isn't something that just happened. These mistakes have been going on since the first day of his first election cycle as president, going into presidency or trying to become the president. This is nothing new. That's why they hid him in the basement. They blamed COVID. No, we're just going to keep him in the bunker in Delaware because it'll be a lot easier because if you actually put him out there and he has the ability to speak, he does not speak eloquently anymore and he hasn't ever, but he's had this cognitive decline for years. I don't get it.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
So the good news is we're going to have Vice President Trump. But that is a mistake he would probably have made a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. The difference is this, that the media can no longer hide it. They can no longer be complicit in the false presidency of Joe Biden. They were exposed during that debate. And I think I am more concerned and more aggravated with the fact that the press has been hiding this for years, and now they're going to attack and be like, well, you know, you see what's going on? You see what's going on here?
With that, I'll take your questions. I've been given a list of people to call on here.
So he's been given a list of people to call on, so he's still being prepped, but this is nothing new. You had cue cards with photographs of photographs of photographers. Yeah, photographer probably would take the photograph. I am very tired. Drank too much last night. You have cue cards with pictures of the reporters and their questions and everything else that has been going on for years now. And now the press is attacking and saying, oh my God, his cognitive decline is really showing.
I wanted to ask you about your, you mixed up Presidents Zelensky and Putin earlier today. And you now have sort of your key allies, including the British Prime Minister, the President of France, the German Chancellor having to step in and make excuses for you on that. Officials here are saying off the record that your decline has become noticeable. Hasn't this now, frankly, become damaging for America's standing in the world? Thank you.
Did you see any damage to our standing in my leading this conference? Have you seen a more successful conference?
Yeah, in kindergarten.
I think. And the Putin piece, I was talking about Putin, and I said, and now, at the very end, I said, here, I mean, Putin. I said, no, I'm sorry, Zelensky. And then I added 5 other names. Look, guys, the idea, and
that makes it so much better.
Suggests that we haven't had an incredibly successful conference. How many times did you hear in that conference, I don't know if it sounds too self-serving, but other leaders, heads of state, in thanking me, saying the reason we're together is because of Biden, because Biden did the following. Look, folks, this is well, anyway.
Well, anyway, I'm not going to talk anymore because evidently if I keep talking, words may come out of my mouth. Oh my gosh. I think the scarier thing is the alternative. And we've talked about this before. We talked about Kamala Harris. I think that's the scarier issue. If Biden stays, here it is twofold. If Biden stays in the race and wins, we're going to get to that in a moment, and wins, you know, at some point in time in the next 4 years, Kamala Harris is going to be president. Or the other situation is the White House has already been putting out floaters or feelers about how Harris would do against Trump. And it's going to, unless you go entirely with a broken convention in August with the Democratic convention, it's going to either be Biden or Harris. Because there's a $250 million war chest of donations that went into the Biden campaign. The only person that can be transferred over to would be Kamala Harris. So if they selected another candidate that it's not one of those two, all that money has to be given back. That has to go back to the donors. So we know the Democrats aren't about money. We always know they're about the little guy, helping the little man out. They're always going after those billionaires and millionaires, even though they're all billionaires and millionaires themselves. But they would have to give that cash back. And I keep thinking to myself, is it worse to have a senile president who may have Parkinson's, who may have Alzheimer's, who may have all these other issues, or Kamala Harris, the joker, the laugher? You could see her with Putin now. Putin, you can't go invade London because my mother used to say to me, did you fall out of a coconut tree? Because coconut trees, they grow not in the UK, but in other areas of the world. And sometimes space shuttles need fuel. And you invading another country will not allow the shuttle in the coconut tree to come out. She is one of the worst people in reference to articulating anything. And then she has this condescending tone when she talks to people. This is why she's so unlikable. And what is she? And her track record as a prosecutor in California is going to come up. Her affair with the mayor is going to come up. There's just so many. She is such a flawed candidate, but she is a woman, and she's a woman of color. And you have to worry because right now, middle class women are voting more towards Biden. So what happens if you have a female president candidate again, like we did with Hillary Clinton, who of course both are woefully inadequate in reference to being able to do the job, but you worry that they are going to see this, like I said, middle class white women and middle class women in general, and say we have to vote for Kamala. I cannot fathom her leading us into these conflicts and dealing with Putin, dealing with Xi over in China, dealing with North Korea, dealing with all these other adversaries and all these other problems that dealing with Hamas. I can't see. What is she going to laugh her way out? I've already talked about this. If she becomes president, we are going to laugh our way into oblivion. There was Nostradamus is always the big prophet that everyone talks about in regards to predicting the future. There's another gentleman, I can't remember his name, and I should have looked it up before I came on, but I'm too tired, who passed away. I think he was from India. It was the blind guy. He passed away a bunch of years back. And he speaks about how 2025, and he was right about 9/11. He predicted the war over, I believe, in Ukraine and everything that's going on in Israel. So he predicted that in 2025 that Europe is going to be decimated in a way that it is going to be uninhabitable. Now, when you think about that, the first thing you think about, of course, is a nuclear annihilation. And you think about 2025, we may have a president, Kamala Harris, or a president, Joe Biden, because none of our adversaries fear either one of those two. You can love Trump, you can hate Trump, but his respect in the community abroad was led by fear. It was the fear of the unknown. It was the fear that you didn't know what Trump was going to do. You knew he was unlike Biden. No, excuse me, Joe. He was unlike, because Biden and Obama are the same person. He was unlike Obama, who had a red line. Do not cross this red line. If you cross this red line, I'm going to draw. Cross this red line. No, do not cross this line. I'm really tired, man. There was 2-for-1 night at a bar right down the road from the house, and literally you could walk to the bar. I mean, it was or is maybe a quarter mile away. So it was 2-for-1 drink night. So I might have partaked a little too much in the rum and cokes, the Captain Morgan and cokes. And they also have these mozzarella sticks, but they're not mozzarella sticks. They're like these mozzarella cubes. Oh, they're fucking awesome. So I got there early for the 2-for-1 special, because it usually ends like around 9:30, 10 o'clock. But they kept it going till like midnight. I don't need to tell you what happened at that point in time. But you are going to, this prophet predicted that the annihilation, like I said, of all of Europe, that it would be uninhabitable. And we were talking about how Trump, at least he leads by fear in reference to his foreign policy at times, because you know what? It's the Reagan policy. It's the Ronnie Reagan. Lead by strength. And there is no strength with Kamala Harris, and there is no strength with Joe Biden. And like we said, we talked about Obama and the line in the sand. Do not cross this line in the sand, or I'm going to draw another line. Trump drew a line in the sand. Told him, do not use chemical weapons. Do not do this. If you do, we're going to send a cruise missile up your ass. Instead, what did he do? He sent 75. You need that type of strength. You need, and I love these economists that are like, well, the Biden economy is going to be so much better than the Trump economy. Okay. I always ask the same question. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? The answer usually is no. I went from shopping at the and our family is not destitute. We're pretty well off. And we would shop at, what they would probably refer to as middle class grocery stores. We stopped shopping there. We started going to places like Aldi, which is a German grocery store where things are usually like 3/4 of the price that you would find at another grocery store, because of the fact that we had watched our bills over the last 2 years. An average bill for us for the week 2 years ago was like $125. We were hitting $175, $200 buying this exact same shit. Yeah, we went from $125 to $175, $200 a week buying the exact same stuff. So we had to start finding these discount grocery stores because we needed to figure out a way to save money somewhere. And that was that's the easiest way to do it. You look at auto insurance. In the 30 plus years I've been driving, never had an accident. Haven't had a ticket in 20 plus years. Neither is my wife. And some unknown reason, our insurance goes up every year. And this last year, I called Progressive and I said, hey, because we moved on from them now. I said, hey, Progressive, we're a platinum member. We're all these things. Why every year do I turn around without accidents and without everything else, and my insurance goes up hundreds of dollars a month, a year? And then the nice lady told me, well, because of the fact that you have to pay for the other drivers who have accidents. Because even though they may only have one accident, the cost of parts and repairs have gone up exponentially. So we need to pass that cost on to the better drivers. That's like the rich paying their fair share when more than half the country doesn't even pay taxes. But you look at that, you look at those costs, you look at the cost of food. We're not even going to get into the cost of gas. We're not even going to get into the costs of energy to heat or cool your house, because my electric bill is just out of control. And we stopped running the air condition so much. You have to go back to Carter, in the 70s and the 80s with, Carter like, hey, listen, you know what? Yeah, energy prices are real high. Put on a sweater. Well, how are you going to put on a sweater when it's 110 outside? So all these economists that say that the Biden economy is working, who is it working for? The people in Washington? Because it's not working for the general public. It's not working for the everyday person who's just trying to scrape by. And you know that the Harris economy is going to be the same thing as the Biden economy. It's this hatred for Trump that drives all this. And I'm not saying Trump is a great person. I'm not saying he's a nice person. I'm not saying he's not a scumbag. But I'm going to tell you this, he's honest. He tells you he's going to do something, he does it. And then when the press is shocked, we're shocked that he did it. It's like, motherfucker, he told you he was going to do it. He told you, straight up. And then we have this latest poll come in I forget where after the debate, that Biden is now leading Trump in the national polling. I think it's 49 to 48 and 2% margin or something like that. I'm like, how? How can this man? But it's the virtuoso of the hatred to Trump that is leading these people into doom, into nuclear annihilation. You hate this man so much in Donald Trump, but he did so much for you. I can't wait to 2025 when the Trump tax cuts expires. I remember the first check we got after the Trump tax cuts, first bi-weekly check, and our check had $225 more in it. Well, folks, if those tax cuts expire, all that goes away. All that disappears. You could talk about what Biden gave you, because everything's about giving me something. Give me something. I need free healthcare. I need free education. Give me something. Well, giving you something always comes with some type of tax. Now, here's the problem. When you got all that money or some of that money for the Biden in reference to, his COVID relief package, which we didn't need, which overheated the economy, which caused inflation, you didn't need that money because it was a one-time check. Trump was giving you a present every week or every other week in the tax cuts. So what happens when those tax cuts go away? Well, you lose that money, folks. You lose that money, kiddies. So think about that. And all this in regards to, also we're going to get rid of the student debt. Basically, all you're doing is trying to pay off the students again. A lot of them aren't buying it. And you now have something like 40-something% now of student loans being defaulted on. And when asked, the people that are defaulting on their student loans, they're hoping that Biden is going to relieve their debt. So you're going to put yourself in collections. You're going to ruin your credit because you're going to hope that Biden is somehow going to break the law, which he's doing now because the Supreme Court even said it, by basically canceling this debt. And you're not canceling the debt. Can we just get 100% straight on that? You are just transferring the debts, and you are transferring that debt away from the individual onto the taxpayers. So the billions of dollars you see coming out of this economy from those student loans are being transferred. That debt is being transferred over to the taxpayer. When Obamacare was first passed, and we discussed this ad nauseum before, there was a little known provision in Obamacare a lot of people just kind of glossed over, and that was the U.S. government takeover of the student loan industry. There used to be an industry before Obamacare where you could go out and get a privatized student loan. Well, Biden and Obama, because I'm always just blaming Biden now. Obama sat there and said, you know what? We could take over this industry. We can rake in the benefits of the interest and everything else by taking it away from being privatized, and we can just, as the United States government, handle the student loan department. Because the government handling of Social Security went so well, or Medicare or Medicaid, or fuck the post office. So they basically, and it was a smaller industry, but they basically wiped out that industry so it could be government-controlled student loans. And I said back then, and anyone that knows me knows I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I said, in so many years, this is going to destroy the student loan industry. This is going to wreck it. And we're going to end up, as taxpayers, flipping the bill for people. I paid my student loans back. I worked 2 jobs. I worked almost 2 full-time jobs in college and played college football. And I paid my loans back. But we don't have personal accountability anymore because you look at the top. Biden's not personally accountable for himself. You have to worry about the likes of Jill Biden and Hunter Biden, who are now sitting in on his meetings, that this is the fact, the exacto fact, the facto, sorry, again, my brain's fogged. These are the people that are running the country, and it's not the guy that you supposedly elected. We're going to have a lot of big shows coming up next week, so make sure you stay tuned. And as always, the truth shall always set you free. This is Tim. Let's get off my lawn, the mad ramblings of a Gen Xer. And as always, I'm out of here.